I went to college, played StarCraft. That's also why I just love space, to play StarCraft. And then I had to get the adult job and be an adult. So coming back to tabletop, 20 years from leaving the Magic Gathering world, this is the whole point of this video. I am astounded there is no other black women. And I'm definitely, like, I've only been in this field for two minutes. You know, I kind of get it's white male dominated, and again, this is not being racist. I'm just making observations. I'm gonna play with whoever. But what is compounded by is we have all this blacks in tech, blacks in cyber, and so I just had to really kind of see that tech doesn't equal nerd, and in some words, nerd does not equal gamer. So it is all over the place, but I'm just kind Welcome to the world of tabletop gaming. And let me tell you, nerds, we are cocky. We like to show off our stuff. You know, nerds may be like, I don't understand the personality of a person who wants to go shopping on Louis Vuitton and bags and all that. But let me tell y'all, these books aren't cheap. Digital Shaman here, and this is my tabletop gaming story. Of course, I fell in love. I'm not a D&D girl. I'm a Pazzo girl. I'm learning. They're helping me out here in these tabletop RPG streets. I love everything space. Hello, I am a shaman. And it's so funny. Let me tell y'all how energy works. I'm not going to throw this away, even though I think I'm moving on from D&D. The only D&D thing I have besides this player handbook. And I called it a shout out. You know, we got to support our local game shops, especially here in Washington, D.C., where everything that's not corporate is hanging by a thread in a rapidly changing environment. Got this at Labyrinth Games. That's one of our big gaming shops here in D.C. Spelljammer. So clearly your girl is a space head. Still in the plastics. So, what is my story about tabletop role-playing games? It starts way back in the 90s, where I grew up as an only child who, thank God, my family just was like, me being born was just a whole shocking surprise. Everyone was old. My mom was still, even to this day, surprised that she had me. So I was an only child who needed to be entertained. I didn't have any cousins, and I didn't have anything. It was just me and my family. So I first got started with quirky hobbies with Pogs. Shout out to the 90s kids. And I probably had to be a preteen, 10 or 12, when I played Pogs, P-O-G-S, which I Googled today. And I remember them being around. I remember we would always stack them and like throw them down at school and in the streets or whatever. But I didn't realize they were milk caps, apparently through Wikipedia. So Pogs, and then quickly, and let me pause and give lots of respect for my family. Back to my comments about nerds. Tabletop gaming and gaming in general, that's a money association. So really looking back, I'm grateful that my family had the resources to start me off with Magic the Gathering at 14. I'm pretty sure, 94. Because I came in at the 3rd edition. Y'all remember alpha beta cards was like, oh, money. Oh man, y'all taking me to when I was a teenage shaman. So 3rd edition, 4th edition, I remember when Ice Age came online, like, it was hardcore, man. And I had family in Seattle. When my family flew me out there from the East Coast to the West Coast, I'm like, Wizards of the Coast? I was there. But where I was not there was D&D. D&D, which I will explain a little bit later why I'm bored and not feeling it. And definitely not feeling the 2024 DE, 5E, whatever. But let's stick to the story. So growing up as an only child who I read a lot. I gamed a lot. We had Nintendo, SNES. Someone in the neighborhood had Sega Genesis, Game Boys. We had all that. But I read a lot, and I would go into the bookstore, and I knew what those red and black binder, spine books were. I knew what they were, but I knew two things as well. That I did grow up in a traditional Methodist house, and it was like Dungeons, Dragons. I was like, oh, I don't want to. I knew how to straddle that line. I was already kind of quirky enough. And then I knew I grew up in a black neighborhood, which shout out to my best, shout out to my childhood best friend. He and I, being, clearly this is the theme of this video, being two black folks playing Magic the Gathering in the 90s. Let me before I speed up my life to my current age here, I'm middle age. I don't know, what am I, middle age? So Magic the Gathering took me all the way through high school. Yeah, that was like 90. Yeah, that was high school, 95 through 99. Like I said, took some trips to the West Coast, to Seattle, to see Seattle, Tacoma specifically, to see family. Got lots of Magic cards. We used to go to the flea market and get the box where you got the lands and your commons, your uncommons, and your rare. Deep into the hobby. And ironically, I just sold. I'm not foolish. Them cards, I put them in a binder. Actually, the zip around, what's it, 3-star? Oh my God, I'm dating myself. I put it in a binder, and I didn't move too much. In my 20s, I had one place. My 30s, I actually had to move a little bit, and I've been settled. I took that binder with me from place to place, and it wasn't until, 2020, pre-pandemic is just, but yeah, during the pandemic, because I had to go back home to take care of my mom, and I was bored back home, and just shucking around. I'm like, oh, maybe, and that's where the thought came online. I'm like, I'm so bored. I said, maybe I should finally now get into tabletop gaming. I'm like, I'm secure, I'm confident, I have time, I have money. I'm like, what's the barrier? I'm the barrier. So, unfortunately, so my point is, in 2021, I sold all my Magic cards, and now that I'm kind of like back into the RPG, tabletop RPG, I'm a little sad because I'm like, it would have been good nostalgia. But I'm gonna tell you right now, I would never play Magic the Gathering ever again. I would not play any card collectible game unless it's on my Switch, because I'm a big Yu-Gi-Oh fan over here. I'm a big Yu-Gi-Oh. Shout out to PSP. Whatever Yu-Gi-Oh game was out on PSP in the 00s, I used to get my man. But my family financed my Magic the Gathering hobby. I'm not paying for it. I'm not paying for it. So shout out to the new era Magic the Gathering, the arena, still going strong. Although I did not realize, that's business. Wizard of the Coast. But I actually read the history of D&D book last week because I read, and from Gygax to TSR to Wizard of the Coast to Habros. So very, very, very different trail there. And I think that, let me just get to my point before I get on to, sorry, I should have all my props together. Why am a Starfinder fiend? So I left off with 2021. I was taking care of my mom, and I sold my Magic cards, and I started hanging out in my local game shop. Unfortunately, it was a lot of kids in there. And I'm like, I will hang with anyone. Like, I teach, whatever. But when you're new to D&D, and it was interesting. Yeah. So, got back up here, Washington, D.C., major city. And, I was still kind of like, I'm not happy. I want to do some gaming. And I learned quick from Reddit, you get to Discord. Actually, like, Discord gives me so much life. Like, I feel like this video is an ode to the 90s tech and RPGs, everything, but IRC. Shout out to anyone who hang out on Internet Relay Chat in the 90s. That's what Discord reminds me of. Oh, it takes me back. So, slid into the Discords and, tried a couple of D&D groups. And either way, It's cool. That was probably where were we at? 2022. And actually, I did not like the first group, and I quit. And I stopped, and I got depressed. And I was like, the thing I waited for since childhood is weird. What I didn't like, and looking back, they were definitely a seasoned group. And the DM was good, and he was actually, looking back, because I quit and came back. I'm sorry if y'all ever see this video. I tried. But they were doing the round planescape in the Fey world, and I'm like, what dice do we use? It was just a mismatch with me being a noob and their level of experience. Like, but I do say that I'm learning what makes a good tabletop role-playing game experience, because I'm going to be a GM of, I'm going to be a starship captain. Okay, I'm gonna be the GM in games here. Like, I'm sorry, I love Starfinder. So yeah, it was just not a good mix, and we set off separately around their home, and I think that it wasn't a table where we were working together, and that really turned me off from the scene for a very long time. And it wasn't until I started, I don't even know. I think I was just, I'm gonna be real. My gentrification has killed all the things I used to love to do. And I'm not one to sit around and be idle. I'm INTJ, and we solve our own problems. And I really, back to, a lot of shifting in my life. I'm taking care of so many family things. I lost my aunt during the pandemic. So I have to find things to keep my stress down besides yoga, walking, blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, I love gaming, which would make sense, not to keep throwing in astrology, like Sagittarius, moon, and rising. Sagittarius loves to have fun, and gaming's a big part of that. So once I kind of understood Discord, and that was even a learning curve, because I kept missing messages. My friend, my sister bestie was like, this seems harder than online dating. And I'm like, we're not going to talk about digital shame as love life here on the YouTube. But I was like, man, you're right. And like finding a group, we just filled, it's not a good fit. I'm like, it's an online gaming date. It got really confusing, but I just was inconsistent. And lo and behold, I think too, I started to explore, physically go to the different game shops in the area. I'm like, let me just go talk to people, seeing what's going on, not being on a Zoom square, because I absolutely was not trying to play online. Like, I like to meet people in the community. Absolutely. So, yeah. So, actually, I stumbled into, and why am I being vague? Game Castle, shout out to that College Park, that mighty, mighty Maryland Terp Nation right here. I'm sorry. So, Game Castle in College Park, I went there, and No, I remember. Now I remember. I'm like, why did I go to Game Castle? Through their Discord, they were doing a Starfinder create your character sheet. And I know that the character sheet, tabletop gaming, it's a nerd hobby. It's reading, it's math, it's figuring out things. So I said, let me go here so I could just get some help. Because it was still so many things. Trying to fit in, trying to learn, trying to understand. It was a lot. So I got there, and it was just me and two other people at the table creating a Starfinder character. And the GM, or the store owner, he was like, oh, you really like this? And I was like, yeah, this is really cool. He's like, you should come back this weekend. Pazzo noob here. It was a mini Pazzo Con for 5 days, like Labor Day, like literally Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 4 days. So here goes me, newbie, showing up. Wait a minute, I still didn't even get to showing y'all more. Here goes me, jumping into the Pathfinder Society at a con. Me who had made one character. I was so... it was overwhelming and fun and enjoying at the same time. I was just like, I found my people. So, some more things I picked up from Game Castle. Yes, Starfinder 2nd edition play testing. I'm learning about new terms and stuff. But yeah, I mean, this is not a video getting into what are different RPGs: Pathfinder Society, Pathfinder, Player Core, and Player Core 2, and I'm getting my angles terrible today, and Player Core 2. So, I told y'all, this is a nerd swag video. Swaggy. These books, I shouldn't even I don't want my friends. Let me get my camera angled. I don't want my friends looking like, these books are like $60 a piece. Don't tell nobody how much I done spent on some of this stuff. So, if you made it this far, thank you for rocking with me. So the point is, jumped out there to the Paizo organized play mini-con for 4 days. And subsequently after that, I've, I understood the Paizo, society play. So I've gone to many games. That's why I'm done with Paizo is more strategic, tactical game and the effort of teamwork. And that's what I feel about D&D is it. At first, I went into tabletop RPG with my video game mindset. Doesn't work like that. But I feel like and I'm speaking, I'm straight off the street. But all these D&D people who want to build these giant characters and I want to kill everything. And I know everyone has different games, narrative, this. I don't know. I just wasn't feeling it. And I think the fact that they kept dumbing it down, and then I've been finding out from them. Wait a minute, let me use my TTRPG terms. Some man introduced himself to me as a Groganard? And I was like, what are you, sir? Give me a minute to Google that. And that's Groganard is a French word for being an OG gamer. He's like, you're going to meet the people like, well, my mom read D&D books to me when I was in the womb in the game only came out in the 70s. And, it's cool, though. I am hating. I realized I was projecting hard, that I was the only child who could afford to play D&D and didn't have anyone to play with, because I knew the black folks in my neighborhood, they didn't play Magic with me. We don't want to get into that whole, constantly being rejected, for stuff that I like to do. But like I said, my Gemini best friend, we played Magic together, and I would take my cards and play with the white boys in high school, because I was also one of the rare people who had a computer. Again, I cannot thank my family enough for all the things that they provided me. So I'd go to school with, y'all want to really go there with my Far Side books? Which I still have. Oh my God, my Far Side books, because it was, I remember one of my high school mates, jeez, I haven't been out of high school 22 years. He had gotten a Gateway computer, the Moo. My 90s people, y'all gotta be enjoying this. My 90s nerds, y'all got to be enjoying this. Gateway, the Moo box computers. We laugh about Far Side, and then we talk about Magic the Gathering. So my point is, I went to college, played StarCraft. That's also why I just love space, to play StarCraft. And then I had to get an adult job and be an adult. So coming back to tabletop, 20 years from leaving the Magic Gathering world, this is the whole point of this video. I am astounded there is no other black women. And I'm definitely, I've only been in this field for two minutes. I kind of get it's white male dominated. And again, this is I'm not being racist. I'm just making observations. I'm going to play with whoever. But what is compounded by is we have all this blacks in tech, blacks in cyber. And so I just had to really kind of see that tech doesn't equal nerd. And in some words, nerd does not equal gamer. So we're just all over the place, but I'm just kind of surprised because we just live in such a anything, everything goes world. Why am I the only black woman in these spaces? And I looked at, because when I pick up hobbies, I go all the way in. PaizoCon, Gen Con, when I'm these people that I've been hanging out with, and then gave me con folders and you're gonna come on here with this, go with us to that road trips. I'm like, I'm not driving, I will fly out and meet y'all. Bougie girl here. But I think at the end of the day, anyone who's mature can be in different communities with people who look like them and don't look like them. But y'all see all the things that I have purchased. And it would be nice to see another sister at the table. Oh, girl, will you get your dice? And have a little bit of black woman to black woman camaraderie. So I am extremely disappointed. Now, I have seen two black men. And I think my point, too, is I've looked at pictures of, and I know we have BLERD. Thank you. That was my other point. Sorry. With BLERDCon, y'all only just gave it. BLERDCon is black and nerd, BLERD, and BLERDCon, because I have to remember, I'm here in DC. Some of y'all might be in, no offense, Kansas or something. So BLERDCon is, I think BLERD, we're going to Google this live. I think BLERDCon is, it can't just be local to our area. Isn't it a national Black and Nerd conference? How many, oh, wow. Okay, I'm spoiled. This is totally a DC Metro, DC Metro area, DC, Maryland, and Virginia. Because I'm right here on the wiki. And it was inaugurated 2017 in Virginia. Wow. Today I learned. So then I actually proves my point even more that we have a whole 3-day conference right here. BLERDCon is the annual 3-day multi-genre convention. The convention name comes from the term black nerds. Yada yada. You know, I know people that go to cosplay. I have not been yet. It's been a lot. Actually, I've been very shy to cosplay by myself. But I've got some people who said we're gonna roll up in that joint next year. And yeah, so I'm just yeah, I might email the BLERDCon people. Like, do y'all need and this is why I'm learning to GM. Because I don't like to complain. I'm about solutions. I'm about to get my man on. I'm about to get my man learning. And I'm only playing. Hold on. It's my game. I can do what I want. I'm only Starfinder, Pathfinder. And the more reason to what I learned from the Groganard is it splits. Pathfinder, Pazzo games are crunchy. All these new terms. Crunchy because it follows D&D 3 or 3.5 rules, which, this is what I was looking for. The core rulebook. It's 500 pages, and this is like casual gamers don't want to deal with this. Real gamers who love tactical and space combat, want to get all into the details. So that's why I can't even go back to D&D. It's just so boring. It's boring. So give me a tactical, deep tactical, strategic role-playing game where it's enforced that you need to be a team. Play to your strengths. Figure out what's going on. Like, that to me is taking the video games I play and bringing them into the real life of my world. So I'm going to go ahead and end here, y'all. And this was a fun little video. And I'm going to email the BLERDCon people. Actually, I need to make sure I have my butt up in there to see. Because I'm like, do they not do events outside of this annual conference? Because I'm like, BLERDCon would be a great place to. I'm new to this world, y'all. Help me understand why there's a lack of diversity in tabletop gaming. And here, so I'm going to end here because the gentrification, and this is the statistics, there are less black people here in the Washington, D.C. metro. Like, they're spread out. So, I don't know. I just continue to say, where y'all at? Now, I'm a game with everyone. This is not a racial video. But to me now, it's just odd. Like, I'm like keeping track. Like, all right, this is my 10th game, 11th game. How many games is it going to take for me to meet someone like me? Stay tuned, because I'm going to come back on there. Then be like, come on to my YouTube channel. When I find you, sis, you'll come on the YouTube channel. All right, I'm Digital Chairman, the #1 Starfinder gamer who doesn't know what she's doing. I hope y'all enjoy. Please subscribe, and I'll be back with more. Peace.